It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Hello and welcome to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your host, Uncle Roy, and in today's episode we are going to be making a German dish. I haven't done one of those in a while, and I just missed Octoberfest. Oh, I was so disappointed. I always have great German meals at Octoberfest time. But as taping of the show, it's still October, so technically I could be considered Octoberfest. Octoberfest is usually the first weekend in October. So anyway, it doesn't matter. You can have Octoberfest any time of the year. What it is, it's German cooking. And it's wonderful, hearty, stick to your ribs type cooking on these cool, cold fall days. It warms you up, it's cozy, it's comfort food, it just makes you want to lay at the couch and go to sleep. And I was raised German, Norwegian, Swedish, and English, so I have that German in me that just loves it. 3/4 German. 3/8 German, I'm sorry. Anyway, so let's get cooking. Cast iron skillet, that's the big German thing right there. Everybody's got to have a cast iron skillet. And we're going to just take and just spray it lightly. This is just helping for cleanup is all. It's already well seasoned from after years of frying, so it's doing just fine. And I'm going to put this on medium heat. And I got 4 strips of bacon. I'm going to take and cut that up into approximately 1/2 to 1 inch size pieces. This is all going to cook down anyway, so it doesn't really matter how big or how small you make them. You want them generally on the bigger side, because if you have them too small, they're going to just dissipate and you really won't have any much flavor or texture in your bites of your dinner. So we're going to just put those in the pan and let those fry up, along with onion. You gotta have onion. And you know, I got this huge onion. I'm gonna put it all in. Let me tell you that. It's way too much. Excuse me. But I am gonna put in a lot of onion. Onions. What you got? Onion and the German cooking, when Mom had to do it for my dad, and Scandinavian, being a combination of the both, they hardly touched anything with spices. You were lucky if you got salt and pepper, and that was about it. Because everything was so bland. But after I moved out of the house, I discovered all my spices. And boy, I went crazy, and I went to town on spicing up everything. So I've learned a lot of spices you can add to enhance your flavors. You don't have to overpower it and put in a lot, but just, you know, make them tasty and taste good. There we go. So if you have like, I don't know, small to medium sized onion, I'm going to dice this up into a medium dice, which is approximately 1/4 to 1/2 inch squares. Everything in the pot. One thing nice about cast iron skillets, when you have the lid, you can just transfer the whole thing right into the oven. Boom, there you go. Then, let's see, I'll wrap this up later and put that in a Ziploc bag, which I don't have here. I got them in the other room. Anyway, we'll get rid of this. Also going to dice up 1 apple. And you're wondering, like, why dice up an apple? Well, it gives wonderful flavor to this, because we're going to do sauerkraut and brats together. And the apple and sauerkraut make a wonderful combination. Oh, it's just delicious. And I'm not peeling these apples, but I am cutting out the middle core, because leaving the skin on the apple gives you a lot more vitamins and minerals. And that's very beneficial for our health. So I'm just going to dice these up in two approximately 1/4 to 1/2 inch chunks. You don't want these real small either, because they're going to dissipate and turn into applesauce. So we don't want to, I mean, it's okay, but you kind of want to have the texture in there of biting into an apple when you eat your dinner. Ooh, that's a tart apple. Ooh. Okay, browning away here. Now, my brats are already pre-cooked. These are like, you know, frozen, thawed, pre-cooked ones, smoked ones, whatever you want to call it. So all I have to basically do is heat them up. But I do want to fry them in the pan just to give them a little texture, a little browning to the outside of the skin. Even though they're fully cooked, I just like to have that colorization and the caramelization from the onion and bacon on the outside. So I'm going to let this cook down until we get the onions are translucent. Now we're going to be adding spices, and the best time to add your spices is while we're browning, because the heat is going to take and open up the essential oils in your spices, bring them out so you get a lot more flavor comes into your cooking then, rather than just putting them in at the very end like a powder topping. So, let's see. I got some bay leaf here. And I'm just going to add just 2 bay leaves. Smell it cooking away. I don't want to burn it. One thing about cast iron skillet, it can burn easily if you don't watch it. Because it's cast iron, once it heats up, it retains the heat. And so it's very easily to overcook and burn things on cast iron skillet. So you just gotta keep an eye on them. But they're great though. Then I'm gonna put in, about a 1/2 teaspoon, about a 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed. And about a 1/2 teaspoon of caraway seed. And this is going to give it a nice German taste. And like I said, I don't like to put salt in things because there's so much salt in everything. I'm going to take and put in, about a teaspoon of peppercorns. Okay, how are we doing here? Bacon is starting to brown. Onions are browning around the edges, they're caramelizing. And I think we're just about ready. You could let this go really long and letting your bacon crisp up, but it doesn't matter, because once you start baking everything together with the sauerkraut and juices, it's going to re-soften again. So I just want to get the flavor of the bacon fat in there. So I got them, let me see. Try to get this here. You can see how I got everything all crispy brown on the edges like this, the caramelization. And we don't drain this, we want to keep all that fat and juices in there. That's going to add flavor to our meal. Now, we put in our sausages, our bratwurst. Sausage bratwurst, the same thing. Because I'm going to let these brown up too, or I'll heat up it slightly anyway. I just want to get that caramelization going in there. And so that's why we don't want to overcook these onions and bacon, because they're still cooking as they're browning up the meat. Okay, and then I have a can of sauerkraut. Got that in there. That's going to get poured over the top. And I gotta have dumplings. Oh, I gotta have dumplings. Can't have it without dumplings. Oh my Lord, that's going to make the piece de resistance. That's what tops it off. You gotta have dumplings. So now let me see how to. I'm just so used to doing granny, a handful of this, handful of that. So I'll try to measure this out to see what I can get here. How I'm doing this. I got 1 cup. Oh, about 1.5 cups of flour. And on my grandma, on my paternal grandmother, German, had electric stove. I've said this before. She burnt everything. Oh, that's why I hate electric. You really don't have much control over the heat. All right, turn those over. Okay, then I'll put those apples in at the very end. The sauerkraut dumplings. A little bit of salt in that. And a little pepper. Personal preference, too a lot, too little. Like I said, it's salt and everything, so I try to stay away. Okay. Oh, that's what I was gonna get. Gotta have the baking powder. Now, egg dumplings, like for soup, you don't put the baking powder in. But for this dish we do. We want them more fluffier. About a tablespoon of baking powder. Oh, careful. I'm going to slide that off the heat for right now because it's still going to cook because that cast iron is so hot. I'm going to mix this thoroughly. And then we can put our sauerkraut. Actually, let me do it this way. I want to mix together. It's going to be hard to mix together once it's in the pan. Put in the sauerkraut, and then we'll put our apple in that sauerkraut. And then we'll mix this together, toss these together. And then we'll pour this over the top. Sizzle, sizzle. And I try to distribute those apples evenly if I can. All right, we got lots of dishes going on here, Callie. Always, ooh, lots of dishes. Okay, so then in our flour mixture, we add milk. Don't ask me how much. It's one of those, like I said, it's until you a handful of this, handful of that. Just mix this up until we get a nice, you want a thick consistency. You don't want it super runny like soup, and you don't want it thick and heavy like a pie crust, but you do want it moist. And I could use just a little bit more flour. I put just a titch too much milk in there. Ooh. Let's see what that does. You can go back and forth, adding this, adding that. Depends on how dense and light and airy you want your dumplings. So now this is a nice consistency. I want to say almost like it's like a moistened pie crust. But anyway, now the best way to do this is to dip your spoon in boiling water, which I don't have going. I'll just do hot water. And what that does, it just helps to keep it from sticking to the spoon. And it slides in so much nicer. And then we'll just take and brush up against the side here and portion off our dumplings. You can make these as big or small as you want. Personal preference. I got 4 in here, so this will be a nice dinner for 4. Of course, me, probably eat half of it myself. I may be thin, but I have a big appetite. I love to eat. And we're just arranging these dumplings in a nice picture presentation going around the pan. There we go. And now, let's see, my oven's at 350. That's a little hot. Oh, the sun's starting to come out. I haven't seen the sun in days. So this is what we're looking like on the outside. Ooh, 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 ooh. And there you can put the cover on. And we'll put this in the oven. And this is going to bake for approximately half hour, 45 minutes. And then we'll be back with our German. I can't think of the name of the dish. Anyway, I mean, there's a special German name. But it's the bratwurst and sauerkraut with apples. And we'll be right back. Okay, now we got this out of the oven. Look at the gorgeous dumplings. This is going to be a wonderful dish. Let me serve this up and we'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. Now we're going to continue on with another recipe. We're going to add on to this German theme, make this Octoberfest. Now, like I said, Octoberfest generally is what it is, the first weekend in October. But I don't care. I'm going to celebrate Octoberfest the entire month. I enjoy German food. That's just it. That's what I was raised on in the country sticks of Wisconsin. Leinenkugel's beer, Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, very German community. Anyway, now we're going to take and make a German potato salad. Now, this is not the hot German potato salad with bacon. There's no bacon in this. And it's not hot temperature-wise. It's not a cold potato salad because it's not chilled completely like a normal cold potato salad is. It's in between, so I want to say it's like a warm potato salad. So what I have here is 1.5 pounds of cooked potatoes that are peeled, clean of course. And I boiled those down until they're al dente or poked with a fork, and they're still tender, but there's a little bite to it. Because you don't want them mushy. You want them still a firm bite, like pasta when making al dente. So I have 1.5 pounds of potatoes. Now you want to make sure these are well drained. If you don't, you're going to have excessive water. That's going to thin out your sauce, and who knows, you might get sick off of it. I'm not saying you will, but I'm just saying you want to make sure everything is these potatoes are thoroughly drained so that the water doesn't dissolve or dissipate the sauce. Long confusion story, but you know what I'm saying. Now, for the sauce, we're going to be needing 1/4 cup of diced onion. Now I got this last onion, oh, it's huge. So I only need 1/4 cup, which is about one of those little small onions or so. Now, personal preference, how big, how small. For this salad, I'm gonna go to medium to the small. I'm gonna go like a 1/4 inch width. And we're gonna add these right straight to the potatoes. Now, like I said, these potatoes are drained, they're not chilled, so they're still kind of warm, so it's just like room temperature basically. And let's see, then in a separate bowl, we're going to mix up the sauce. 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I think it's left all off. You don't have to be too precise with this. If you have, an overly filled cup, that's fine. It all depends on your potatoes, if you measured them out exactly or not. I didn't, I guesstimated. So it's okay. Then we're going to need 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And we'll put this right in the same bowl. Now it's a tablespoon of white sugar, along with 1/4 cup of cider vinegar. Shake that up first. And then we need a teaspoon each of salt and pepper. And of course, I got the kosher salt. Now in this recipe, you don't have to use kosher salt because we are making a salad, we're not baking. But I just like to use kosher salt. I just like the flavor. I like the consistency and how it adds and enhances every dish that I make. Okay, and then we need a tablespoon of fresh parsley. And I got that right here. I always keep this in when I buy from the store, I like when I get it home, I always take my parsley and put it in a glass of cold water. That way the water will take it, bring it back to life. So you have fresh, crisp parsley. Because who knows how long that parsley has been sitting at the grocery store. And usually when you get it at the grocery store, it's kind of wilted. So when I bring it home, just stick it in a glass of ice water or cold water. You can keep that in the fridge if you want to. I just keep it on the counter, and the water will grow back into the parsley and make it nice and fresh. And make that parsley spring back up again, so we have crisp parsley. Okay, then we can just take and mix this all together. Now you want to take and mix this up enough so that that mayonnaise dissipates and mixes in well with all the other ingredients. You don't want to have big old chunks of mayonnaise in there or lumps of it, Here we go. And then we'll just take and pour this over our potato and onion mixture. And we'll toss this around. Now this you want to let sit and marinate for at least an hour. And what that does, it gives the cold potato or the room temperature potatoes a chance to absorb and soak in all the ingredients. It's a marinade is what you're doing. You're marinating the potatoes. And so after tossing this together, I'm going to put this back in the original mixing bowl of the sauce, so that there's more sauce in that bowl that's going to adhere to the potatoes. I just don't want to lose any of the flavor. I want this to be really good. Okay, then you can just take and cover with saran wrap. I'll put a little plate on top. And I'm just going to let this sit. I just don't want anything to get into it. And marinate for an hour. Now you can put this in the refrigerator if you want it cold. That's up to you. But I want to keep this at room temperature so I can have that room temperature. The thing is, at room temperature with this recipe is that the flavors and the seasonings are going to expand and spill out. How can I describe it? It's going to taste better because it's almost like melted butter over an ear of corn, how it melts over and then you get all those flavors. That's what this basically is doing. You have all these ingredients on top of the potatoes at room temperature so that they spew out and you get a more flavorful feeling or taste of all the ingredients. Now you can chill it if you want to, but that's going to coagulate and make everything more solidified around the potatoes. I want this to be smooth, but I don't want it hot because that's a different recipe. I hope I don't sound too complicated. Anyway, this is going to be a great potato salad for our Octoberfest. And then here's our lovely Octoberfest meal. We have the bratwurst on top of the sauerkraut with the onion and bacon and apple, along with our baking powder dumplings. And this is our lovely potato salad. Oh man, is this ever good. It's a warm, room temperature potato salad. And it is full of flavor. Now you could heat that up if you wanted to, or you could chill it off if you want to. It's all your personal preference. It's wonderful. Oh, does that ever taste good. So I hope you enjoy these late Octoberfest meals. And they're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, they're so good. Hearty, stick to your rib type meals for this cold, cool fall nights. This is an excellent meal. Can't wait to dig into this myself. This is my dinner for tonight. So from the Northwoods Cooking Show, I love to say, eat healthy, be safe, and spread the sunshine. Bye-bye.